You can't see it, but both Seattle and Mexico City sit on top of dirt-filled bowls. But the dirt is different. The shape of the bowls is different. And it all combines to make Mexico City more vulnerable in an earthquake than Seattle. The power of that bowl effect came into sharp focus in the 1985 Mexico City earthquake. Thousands of people died, and many of the city's oldest buildings made of unreinforced masonry collapsed.
In Mexico City, we have a volcanic rock basement and then a lake formed on top of that and laid sediments down over many thousands of years.
Bill Steele is a University of Washington seismologist, and the differences are important.
In Seattle, on the Seattle Basin, we have glacial moraines and debris that are carried down by the Cascades, but we've had over 1 kilometer of ice kind of packing that down, and so it's a lot stiffer and harder than the Mexico City material.
This effect can be demonstrated with a simple sink or a bathtub. Take a piece of ice, wait for things to calm down, and drop it in. So the energy of the wave goes out, but the basin effect has it bouncing back through. This latest quake will continue to be studied by both scientists and structural engineers. Just how big was that amplification effect this time? The quake, while major at a 7.1, was also much smaller than the 8-point quake that nearly destroyed the city 32 years earlier. But this week's quake was centered much closer, just a few miles away, rather than hundreds of miles away. And many of those older buildings that were cleared out in 1985, the newer ones to replace them were built to modern codes. Yet some older buildings that survived 85 came down this time.
The energy is coming from a different direction. The ground motion is going to be different for those buildings than the 1985 earthquake.
Now, structural engineers, of course, as we said, are going to be looking at that. A lot of those structural engineers are based here in Seattle, saying every time this happens, we learn more, we can then make buildings stronger and more survivable.